Roger that. See you on the other side.
So welcome everyone and thanks for joining this session. My name is Michał, Kościanek. I'm associate partner in our Adaptive Solution Advisor Group, and we as a company have privilege to be a sponsor as well, co-sponsor of this event. And I have a pleasure to be a host of today's session here we'll a little bit explore the report that we conducted with the GBS leads in Poland. So we explore some of the key topics, and then we have a bit of interactive session on with the panel, in sort of panel discussion. That's why we have our guest speakers as well. So maybe I can just pass, guys, for you to make a short intro.
Hi, good morning. My name is Bartek. I work in Sappi Business Center in Krakow. Over 20 years of experience in business center environment, starting in Lufthansa, one of the first business center here. Now in Sappi as of 8 years. Yeah, very nice to be with you here. Thanks for the invitation for the discussion.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Olgierd Sarzyński and I represent Cisco. I've been working in the GBS environment for roughly 16 years in many companies, but with Cisco I'm 3 years, and I'm here as a practitioner on a daily basis, responsible for the pay delivery and the merger and acquisitions within my company. Now I'll be happy to share some of the insights in this topic.
Thank you, Olgierd. So if you allow me, I just stand up. I prefer to stand up while I'm talking. So we still have one colleague that is not with us, Michał. He'll be joining us, so please excuse us if there will be someone joining in the middle of the session. I hope that he will reach us soon. Okay, so before we start, I think a little bit of context. So I think for the last 2 years, we are witnessing a big hype about the GenAI. Right, everyone is a bit of, despite the AI as such exists for the decades already, right? We have a number of solutions and tools implemented, but now GenAI is becoming much more consumable for us, right, as human beings without special IT skill set. So we can really touch and feel what it is. That's why we try to, think about, GenAI, it's like, wow, it's like the application can be limitless, right? And then now it becomes a bit of testing phase, on top of just writing emails, proposing, using that for the meeting notes creation, own like private application, creating the content, the pictures, etc. Is there really a use case and business case to implement it in the business? And I know that in supply chain and other business processes it is the case, but now in the context of GBS, how can we leverage on the technology, right, to bring more added value in the organization, either through the process optimization or adding additional, bringing more value as a company, right? So that's one element. And the other perspective is that we are indeed discussing about the OpenAI, GenAI, what it brings, a lot of wealth of the positive elements, but also there are critics coming in place. Okay, how about the security of data? Do we understand what this OpenAI algorithm, how they work, how we are ensuring that, if I'm running a company which has a big, huge IP like pharma, right, how I can ensure that my secret receipts are not passing to the competition, etc., right? So intellectual property, security, so those elements are also coming into place. So that's why we all having in mind, that's why we thought, let's join the force with Andrew, with Aspire, and conduct a survey with the leaders of GBS organizations in Poland. So we collected insights from more than 80 GBS leads in last months. And so the full report, I strongly recommend you can scan the QR code. So you can download the report immediately. I hope that Andrew will be also publishing the presentation, so we can also later on download the report. So it's available, so full report. And today we just, because of time limitation, we focus on the key elements and the aspects of that report. The session will be split into two blocks. One, key insights from the report. The second part will be more interactive. So please have your mobiles ready. We will use Menti, and I like to ask you for some voting, just to give a bit of entertainment, not to make you too sleepy. And then we can based on your feedback, and then we can ask colleagues, guest speakers here to comment on some of the elements. Okay, so before we go to the AI, GenAI, so the first item was in our survey what we asked. Okay, so let's look at what are the most popular solutions we are using in GBS organizations, right? And I think the usual suspects, right? RPA, yes, I think a majority of organizations use the RPA in bigger or lesser extent. Image processing, I still recall from my times in the Philips 2003, we were implementing first OCR solutions. So it was more than 21 years ago. And I think since then, both RPA and OCR, they emerged and developed big times, right? So the hit rate, the accuracy and the automation levels are I would say, much more mature. Chatbots, that's also nothing new and quite popular technology we are using. Machine learning, I think, okay, a bit of machine learning, I think, is in every single technology, a bit of machine learning and AI behind it, but that's what Responded told. So you can see those four elements are already widely spread across the GBS organizations. Then we are working in business context, in business environment, right? So then everything is about how I would say managers and the leaders ask, okay, show me the money. So I would need to put my investment into this robotics, into the OCR, whatever. So what's the rate of return? What are the benefits that are associated with those technologies? So we asked also the leaders, okay, can you somehow associate and give us the response? So what were the reduction of the efforts linked to the implementation of those technologies? One element astonishing was on the right-hand side. 1/3 of organizations, I have no idea. That's telling something, right? So potentially, okay, I'm not saying that it's everywhere, but at least from the 80 business leaders, that was the response. The rest, you can see, okay, the biggest proportion of the respondents voted around the 6 to 10%. So I think if you look for the median, it could be actually around slightly below 10%, which is also in line with the insights that were shared yesterday by PwC, that indeed the rate of the reduction from the automation is around the 10% that is achievable. So and then, okay, so now let's look a little bit of the AI, generic AI, or overall AI, which is technology which is deployed in the GBSs, right? And where it is applied for. So I think that the major responses, the biggest number of responses, we're talking about, okay, the automation of the routine tasks is the main use case, right? Then extracting data. So again, okay, OCR. The application is customer support, data analytics, and decision support, right? So these were the responses from the GBS leads, where the AI and automation is widely applied. And then we asked, so what do you expect from wider adoption and planned adoption of the AI technologies, including GenAI as well? And you can see the outlook, at least in the heads of the GBS leaders, is very positive. So unlike the little bit lukewarm results from the previous version of automation, well, without the GenAI and full-fledged AI, it's much more positive. So you can see, if you add the red and green one, it's like 90% of the leaders, they said that the AI implementation will bring more than 10%. So I think that's 10 to 25 is 62%, 26 to 50% reduction of the efforts is almost 30% of respondents. So compared to the previous actual results, right? Either we didn't know what that brought, or okay, this around 10%. It's the expectations is much bigger, right? And then if we talk about the benefits, right, there is always a blend of the hard financial tangible benefits for the organization, either coming through the increased efficiency in the processing or the cost saving from the other areas. There are also some not always monetary improvements and benefits expected, like enhanced accuracy and quality. Then the respondents see, okay, there is also a way that we can, through our proper adoption of the AI, we can expand the scope of the GBS processes and adapt more. Data-driven insights, right? So we can easily much better deploy this GenAI and AI technology to analyze our data, right, without really being a hard coder IT specialist. And then the other question, the insights I would like to share is linked with the where the leaders expect the application of the AI and GenAI elements, right? So again, I think that's not changing dramatically. I think if you can see, okay, elimination of simple tasks is still the prime factor, or at least focus area. Another element, and that's exactly, I think that's big time linked with the GenAI is enrichment, adding missing data, right? So I think using the data models, using the AI technology to enrich, analyze the data that we are possessing, right, currently, in a pretty, I would say, democratized manner, right? So again, you don't need to be a coder. You don't need to be IT person, right? There is a technology which is translating the complexity of the backbone algorithms to the pretty, I would say, natural language prompts that you can make that analytics, right? Creation from scratch, so it's content generation, right? I think that with Robert, maybe you can share the example of the, because you are working in Heineken right now for the content generations, the query management. Can you maybe share just an example? Because I know that we are hunger for examples.
So welcome, Robert, from Heineken. So we actually at Heineken have our first, well, maybe not first, but first GenAI project that is responding already the vendor queries. We are also discussing here with the Electrolux and other teams that yes, that's one hard benefit that Michał was saying, but other benefits are also that it's not only the compliancy, better controls, detection of all the, I would say, unusual cases in case of the invoice management, in case of the payment process, but also a fast response. So previously our vendors were waiting between 8 to 24 hours for the response on the queries. Now it's between 4 to 10 minutes. So this is also increasing the satisfaction of the external stakeholders, our customers and our vendors. At the moment the vendors, but probably in the future also the customers. So it is also working on top of our daily routines, speeding up the process.
Maybe you have any other insights from the audience? Anything to share? Some examples? Okay, maybe later. Let's save it for later. Okay. And then the last insights from this report, and again, you can download the full report with a big number of the more details using this QR code that I showed previously. So when we also ask the organizations, okay, are you ready in terms of, okay, willingness, right? This potential, okay, do you have already applied the AI and Gen AI already in your organization, or you have plans? So you can see it's like 75% of organizations, they have either already have experiences, maybe, and there's, okay, sometimes I think the majority is early stage adoption, understanding, I would say, but at least experimenting. And the other 35% of organizations and leaders, they indicate, yes, we want to, I would say, soon invest in this technology. So that was the insights from the report. Any questions so far? Okay. Good. Okay. Good. So now let's delve into the discussion topics. So first we start with so what are the key challenges in adopting the Gen AI? right? So first we start, okay, we ask you in the Mentimeter to put your answer. There will be multi-selection, multi-choice questionnaire. So please let us know your views. Then, and then, okay, we have a discussion with the colleagues. Then the next question would be, okay, so what are the effective implementations, right, of GenAI, the strategies? And then in terms of the change management, because as I think that it's no-brainer, it requires quite a change in organization, and the change management and managing implementation is a key success factor here. So, first topic, right, the key challenges, and the first question would be, what are the main barriers that the GBS centers face implementing GenAI technologies? So if I can ask the technical staff to put the first question, so if you can scan it and provide responses. Still like 15 seconds. 6, 7, 8. Is there anyone left with the responses? Or we can close? Okay, so let's reveal the results. Oh. Okay, sorry. So okay, I need to ask technical team. So can you start the poll? Sorry, guys. So can you vote now?
For the time being, no challenges, yes. It's quite easy to implement.
Again, usual suspects, I guess. Is there anyone left with not answering yet? Okay, good. Good. Okay, I think that's again. I think indeed usual suspects: security and data privacy. Integration of legacy systems is too complex, and then the third is skills gap and employee pushback. Anyone would like to comment on that one, on that results? Before because later definitely we will comment, but maybe from audience we'll have any insights, remarks.
I think that's not surprising us. Yeah.
But why ethical concerns? Well, I understand employee pushback, but who voted for ethical concerns, and what was the driver?
I think for example, I voted for ethical concerns. So I work in compliance, and we make decisions based on certain client market patterns. Right? So there's a lot of analysis and decision making involved, and that decision has impact on the market, financial market.
Okay.
So if you outsource that to AI, the decision is made. Who's sort of governing and taking accountability of that decision.
Okay.
So
Okay. Makes more sense.
Okay, let's look. Can we? Okay, so that's the response from the leaders from the survey. I think that's okay. We are more more or less in line. Security, data, privacy, integration, skill gap, right technology, ethical concerns. So I think that's pretty good congruence. So, okay, so let's have now a bit of sharing the views from our panelists. So, can you comment on those results and maybe how, on practical examples, how we can overcome those obstacles?
Yeah, sure. Maybe I will start because for me, of course, all of those challenges appeared in Sappi once we started with first AI projects. And also to be clear, we are at the early stage. We've got new projects around AI, but comparing to the 100 of RPA automations, it's just the beginning. I agree that the barriers that we've seen existed, and also it was the case for Sappi. But the biggest one, from my observation, is the skill gap, which here was number 3 or 4. Because comparing to the history from 5 years ago, when we started with RPAs, we missed resources, qualified resources, to run the projects, but now it's much harder. First of all, the technologies are much more complex, and we need more skilled colleagues in this area. But also we need specialists in area of data quality. The focus on quality of data, cleaning up of the data needs to be also done, and data analysts, data engineers are really important. And such a competencies needs to be developed also in Sappi. But also we need the colleagues who will share the idea, being the ambassadors of AI in organization, and also we need everyone in the company to be aware about AI, because if employees are not aware about AI, they will be not really sure how those technologies could support them, where the time could be released, and what could be achieved by implementing the AI. So in Sappi, what we did, we invest in upskilling of the team that have been assigned to robotics projects. They've been further interested in increasing their competencies and really keen to upskill. We encourage them to use various channels of trainings, formal trainings, but also online trainings, Udemy trainings, YouTube tutorials. It was also commented that it's valid area of training, but still it was not enough, and we needed to ask for support our colleagues who supported us with robotics. So external stakeholders, external providers of trainings are also very important. However, in Sappi, what we did is that we not ask external consultants to run the project for us, but be with us with the first pilot project and train. When we failed, when we've got no enough competencies, they show us how to do it, and we can progress with the project. So I think this among all of the barriers is the most challenging one, at least from the first observations that we've got in Sappi.
Brilliant, thank you. I think very good insights. Olgierd, any insights from your end?
Yeah, so maybe starting from the fact that Cisco is an AI enabler, because we sell networking equipment, and in order to use AI, you rely on data centers, not only CPUs, GPUs, but they need to be interconnected, and that's where our networks are deployed. When it comes to AI, I think what is really crucial, and it wasn't mentioned in the deck, is to have the blessing from the top. And that's what's happening at Cisco. Our chief financial officer indicated clearly that AI is the future. We need to invest heavily in both the tech and the skills. So what's happening currently is all the all people. It's not just specific individuals who are working in the RPA department or automation department or projects. People are being trained how to efficiently use the technologies, and we went through a series of planning or brainstorming sessions where we're looking for candidates, the areas where we can deploy AI. We also have, from the practical point of view, where they have an internal, the equivalent of ChatGPT, which is running on our own data, so it's a closed ecosystem. And we're testing it, primarily looking at the ways where we can decrease employee inquiries. And what we found is this system will work as long as your data is up to date and is verified and correct. Otherwise, it can cause more confusion than needed. And there, this is a really promising thing. But where the main challenge, I think, lies for me, working with PII information, so the information of our employees, how to use these systems so they can be used efficiently, but they would not disclose your own information. And I've seen examples where potentially in the future you could pose a question, dear AI, whatever, you name it, if you're using a equivalent of ChatGPT, please summarize my payments, gross and net payments in an Excel-like sheet, summarize them, send them over. But in order to make this happen, your personal information would need to be processed through the AI. And then there's the question, indeed, what about the accessibility and confidentiality of the data? How you should test it out so only your information will be provided, what type of protocols should be put in place so you'll not be able to ask the question how much, for example, Bartosz is earning if he would be working in the same company. So I think these are really fundamental questions that need to be posed.
Thank you, Bartosz. Olgierd, przepraszam. Any comments from the audience? Anything to add?
How much is Bartosz earning, by the way?
Hold on, Siri.
Secret, but so it needs to be published, yes?
Okay, so thank you very much. Good insights. So the next one, I think, the effective implementation of GenAI, right? So again, we'll start with the poll question on what are the most effective strategies to implement GenAI in GBS setting, and then we use time afterwards to consume the results, and then and I think we addressed to some extent the skill gap and the security concerns in the insights shared by Bartosz and Olgierd. So maybe we can share other insights from the audience. So if I can ask the technical team to put the poll. Second question. the winner is implement a pilot program. Then we have both elements, the training paths and then the leadership engagement, and I think that's corresponds also with the feedback share. The good thing is that I think there are no answers. Everyone understands we need a strategy, right? So I think that's pretty obvious element. So let's see how it compares with the technical. Oh, thank you. So I think comparing to the previous one, proof of the concept was the first one. I think here we have leaders actively, change management champions. There were some responses, but maybe there was I think the response were maybe linked to the as this situation. There is no Windows organization, no strategy in place. So we're a little bit looking for the forward-looking statement. So I think that's pretty much. I think that at least the big ticket items are the similar ones, maybe different sequence and way on those ones. Any reflections, any comments from the audience? Why do you think what was the first, the biggest from the poll?
Here it was a proof of concept.
Proof of the concept. Yeah. Why do you think the pilot is the most important element? At least I've seen the many responses.
So I think from my side, 2 points. One is obviously to check whether the use case or the proof of concept really works. For my processes, I'm looking for something, let's say, not the basic work that AI can process for you, but something more analytical. Would it be able to make decisions based on market patterns and make a call, and how feasible that is? So I think that's. And secondly, the cost. What is the return on investment? You get some sense with the pilot, and whether it's really cost effective. Those 2 points.
Okay. And looking into the engagement of leadership actively, lead by example. Do you have any examples in organizations how the leadership team was actively engaged and gave the, I would say the.
We do even yesterday we had our leader from shared operations coming in and actually demoing to the leadership in Krakow how we are going to use some of the AI components and some of the client-facing platforms and applications. It was actually quite engaging to see, a very senior leader navigating through a tool herself. Right? So that also shows it's possible, right? What's possible, and then it's not that difficult.
Great, thank you for your answer. Okay, conscious about the timing, we need to rush now to the panelists. I don't think, do we have Michał? Not yet. So again, I need to ask you guys, maybe Olgierd, you can start, comment if there is anything potentially, because you commented to a large extent on those 2 elements, right?
Yeah.
Anything maybe on top also linked with the previous
results? So I've to comment what was just shared, I think that it is important also to understand what products are available on the market and what you're trying to do. They're entry-level products which are starting to embed with basic software just like Office. So I don't know if you were aware, but the Chat GPT or OpenAI tech is actually embedded now with Microsoft products. It's called Copilot. You can use it in Excel. You can use the equivalent of Chat GPT. So depending on your needs, there are different layers of different products on the market. So that's, I guess, an important question that somebody need to ask. What is your reference point? What you're trying to do? What you're trying to achieve? Are you aiming for basic stuff and then growing? Power Automate platform is another example sold by Microsoft, where you can on top of the RPA automation, you can actually mix it with a little bit of optical recognition and AI and machine learning. There are products like Dr. Watson from IBM, where it's a full-blown AI platform. But It really depends on the organization, to be frank. Some companies decide to go and they want to adapt a tech, test it and fail quickly. Some prefer to have a strategy in place. Some are building the grassroots approach, train people, and then build local champions, so they would be able to. Because in order to have efficient AI, you also need to know really well your process and what's going in. Bringing external parties, if there's a skill gap, then this would work. Or trying to build a separate department, but then you really need to have a proof of concept built. So, yeah, maybe Bartosz.
I can go on because I'm the fan of the number one from the survey. Pilot project, proof of concept, and rather do even with AI, but implementation in smaller steps. As we did in Sappi Business Center here in Krakow, we've got a lot of experience, as I mentioned last time, around RPAs, robots, and the tool used for that, we are using UiPath in our center. We decided to, firstly, to do the pilot with AI, but also to use as the tool something that we already know, at least in some other areas like RPA. And the tool now offered us AI functionalities. I'm referring here to communication mining and document understanding plugins to this tool. So we've got already the team knowing the tool and open to new the functionalities of this tool. So we take somehow the software known by us with some additional functionalities, and we focus on the pilot project. We selected for communication mining the project in sales team for German sites. So it was the pilot, but not for a really small market. German market is the biggest for us. So it was a pilot, but quite important, and we focus on that. So far it's successfully, and the pilot giving the chance for us really to do something good from the beginning to the end, show the success to others, and show really the benefits of the project. I would not prefer to start in many areas because we've got many AI tools. In our organization, we choose for future use GCP platform, Google Cloud Platform. And when I experienced the two tools behind this platform, it's enormous availability tools. But the better is to start with something that we know and go by case study, proof of concept, and one is successful to scale it up.
Absolutely. I think I just can bring one example from one of them clients. I was working with the finance teams, and they have allergy for the agile. So they want, Michał, we don't want to have a whatever POC, MVP, whatever. Just give me waterfall ready product. How can you deliver ready product if you don't know yet all the capabilities, functionalities that you can have? So I think it's also mindset that we need to change, and that's why with these pilots and POCs, right? This kind of methodology that we need to use and influence leadership to follow that methodologies. Okay.
But also important is this successful story that
Absolutely.
It needs to show. It needs to show that we achieved some tangible result, and people got the benefits out of this technology, and then we can do more for other teams.
We are left with the really limited time, so I'll just the last element about the change management. So maybe I'll just go direct to the poll. So if I can ask the technical team, okay, so I can see that already to some extent we started. So what are the best practices for managing a change during the integration of AI solutions?
We're okay on time. You can do 10 minutes more because we started late.
Okay.
10, 15.
Okay. Still a few more and we are done. So I think it's also in line with the previous responses, previous discussions, right? I see number one is educating everyone with what AI is, so it's upskilling, making awareness, training, right? The second, establishing dedicated task force as part of process excellence. Then the third one is creating a dedicated team for AI, so potentially separate one to the previous. And I think it's more or less in line with the responses that we have from survey. We have also dedicated task force. There's also the number of responses of the creating that part of the IT team. Education is maybe not the first one, but also among the biggest responses. Let's move then to a bit discussion, unless, any comments on that one? Because I've seen, maybe the questions were not so much fortunate, because the change management can be also realized in other ways than only creating teams, upskilling, etc. I think that we discussed about the leadership alignment, right? I know maybe I bring the example from my client. They invested a huge amount of money in Copilot, but it was, I think, very mindful and well thought over step, because there was a huge communication plan. Huge team that was engaged in creating the awareness. There was dedicated communication channels, spots, videos, workshops. Just teach everyone how they can consume the Copilot, right? Because it's absolute, I think, no-brainer. It brings a lot of benefits, but if you don't know how to use it and just use it for the meetings minutes, maybe it's not worth investment. So another change management strategies that potentially you haven't seen from the survey, but you like to share. Yeah.
Sorry, use case and the cost, right? So maybe can you comment on any example of a use case scenario that you've seen, in terms of technology cost and scalability of AI deployment? Is that really, how profitable it is, or there's no profit right now, but you wait for 5 years before you can actually see it.
In our pilot project, it was also considered that we should show the benefits, not only nice functionality. And what I mentioned, we use the tool that it's not so expensive, that only need a plugin, need some credits for processing of each of the email in this case. But our proof of concept will bring benefits, huge benefits. It's not something that it's just to show that it's working, but there will be benefits and a lot of time that could be focused by sales team to another activities. It will be achieved already by the pilot project.
Two use cases. One is actually one that you mentioned. So Cisco owns a product that is similar to Teams, which is WebEx, and now WebEx is enhanced with the AI capability. What's happening typically at any meeting now, sessions are recorded, but then indeed you're not required to make any notes. And this is, I think people got used to it really quickly. Even if you're not participating in the call, then you can briefly go through the summary. You have everything divided by chapters, and you will just focus on the key items. And what is the benefit? Probably you'll be able to quantify it in time saved instead of you re-listening to the session. That's one of the key findings from this. And the second use case is what I mentioned with the case management. You still have people who are responding and checking, but as quickly as they can get the materials right and crawl through the myriad of various policies, because we operate across the globe in so many countries, in EMEA, just 59 countries itself. So it's just speeding up the response rate, employee satisfaction, and it's just the beginning. So I'm not able to quantify it in the cost save, but definitely we're saving a lot of time.
And I think that's what I experience. It's even sometimes it's possible to quantify how time and efforts I can reduce, but it's still sometimes a bit of experimentation. I think that's there are sometimes we don't have ways to consume it. That okay, if I reduce the work, do I really redeploy the resources capacity to other things? And that's, I think, challenge that we are facing. Okay, we can, I would say, create the value, but how we can consume it? How can we exactly ensure that, okay, that by consumption of or reduction of the efforts, there is additional value created in the teams, right? And that's a challenge potentially to quantify. Like from Copilot, yes, I'm saving hours, but do I increase my, I would say, added value because of that one? Quantified, like something, can I monetize it? Not always, right? It's not easy. So,
but for sure you've got the time released to something else, yes? So.
Any comments, any examples? Because I think that's
I have a question more related to the change management level. What are your best practices? Because at the beginning you said, and that's really true, that there are growing expectations from the senior managers, from the leadership regarding AI, right? And if we compare to the robotics or any other solutions, you can expect certain accuracy. But with the AI, there are still the predictability models, yeah? Algorithm, there are hallucination. How do you manage this expectation?
would you like to comment or?
I'm not able to comment because our approach is our management is already convinced, right? So these are the issues, real issues that need to be addressed, and we are aware, but we're already past that moment. The whole company knows that AI is the key technology to the future. So nobody needs to be convinced internally about this need.
Maybe in case of Sappi, let's say from the top, we've got also the blessing because digitalization is in our strategy, one of the main pillar of company in Europe and globally. So it's also somehow easier for us, but around change management, just a comment that I would like to mention is that a key here is communication, clear communication and engagement of the people. That top executives are convinced that we should go there, but we need to convince people. And like in Sappi this week, we organize digital team days, digital transformation team days for our employees. General sessions, what's AI about? In a couple of minutes, the demo sessions for employees will start in our office around various technologies, GCP, Vertex AI, also advanced robotics. And this is important because people need to be aware what are those technologies. Employees need to be aware where to ask for the support. If they know the technology, they can ask colleagues from more technical teams where they could be supported, what kind of projects could be implemented. So top managers in the case of Sappi are convinced, but we need to convince our employees to use it, to work on this, and to tell our experts, developers, where they could be supported.
Absolutely, I can only resonate. I think communication, I think what we also have I think it's important to link it, ensure that it's part of your strategy. That's part of the exactly your future thinking. So whatever function you are, there is always an influx of this kind of technology innovation. It's mobilization, communication, etc. You have a question?
Yeah, last question. Quick question, quick answer.
Okay.
Sure. I may reply to that because I'm part of the team that works on this topic. Jonathan Gore, I used to be a data engineer. I went through the teams. That question to me has many layers because there are many layers of what do you want to do with AI depending on the amount of estimated knowledge you want to put in your models. And what we have seen is if it's a simple use with non-PII data, very simple models, we don't really have issues. The second we have client data, then it's a completely different discussion and we need to go through, you mentioned accuracy, we need to be able to evaluate the model and show proof that we have, our rate is 95% accuracy, for instance. So it goes through what was mentioned before, it goes through many POCs, many proof of concepts. We have an AI community that review every project
Great, thank you very much. I would like to thank you for your attention. Thank you, my colleagues, for your time.